Good morning and welcome back to the channel. And today I'm at a very exclusive lake. I'm at well, it's becoming a bit of a legendary lake, this venue is, because it was created by the late great Rod Hutchinson. I'm at Dolly Mill Fishery in Lincolnshire, and this particular water I've actually got an association with dating back almost 25 years, because at the time Rod purchased this lake I was actually working for his company, so I came down here quite a lot when he was creating it and landscaping it and turning it into the beautiful fishery that it is today. And it really is a stunning water. And if I show you some of the photographs of what this lake was like when I first came here in 2002, and I remember thinking to myself, why have you purchased this place, Rod? But he had a vision beyond what I could see at the time. And if I show you around this lake, which I'm going to do in a minute, and you see it now, it's absolutely breathtaking. It really is. It's so stunning. And just listen to the silence. It's almost completely silent out here. It's got a woodland to the right here, and I'll just show you that. It's just got a woodland all the way along this side where it's really, really quiet. There's just nobody in there at all. You get the odd person in there hunting, and you've got a little bit of a track behind the main gate, which I'll show you in a bit, and that leads to, well, it's not a busy track, but it's, you know, there's regular traffic going up and down there, but it's so quiet down here. It's absolutely beautiful. And what I'm going to do now is walk you around the lake, show you the different swims, talk to you about how this lake was created, because I've got a lot of memories from when this lake was created and what Rod did at the time and the fish stocks that was in here. There's still quite a lot of things on site that Rod created, and you know, there's a building on site that Rod put down and spent a lot of time in it fishing. And I've got some photographs that I'm going to share with you of when I was on this lake back in the early 2000s with Rod and his best mate Mally Roberts. Great characters. The two of them together were just absolutely awesome. But basically what we've got here is this is the main gate. It's a keypad entrance to this lake, but this particular water now is exclusively available on Swim Booker for you to fish. It's available as week-only bookings, exclusive for yourself and one other angler. So it's only 2 anglers fishing, but I think it does allow 4 people to come down here, so you can bring your partners. And there's a mobile home on site, which has got all the facilities on site, and I'll show you that in a short while. But without further ado, let me just turn the camera around and I will show you what I'm looking at this present moment in time. This is the track. Okay, this is the track as you enter the fishery. There behind me now is the main gate. Okay, it's a keypad entry, which obviously I'm not going to share with you now, but when you book the lake, you get the keypad entry. And there is the woodland on the right hand side, as I said. There is a house over the back there, but all that woodland is absolutely wonderful. It's so silent. So this is the track, and as you come through the gate, this is the first swim that you come to. Now, none of the swims have got names, so this is just the end swim at the left-hand side of the lake. That's how I can explain it. But what you're looking at now is that weeping willow over there. It's just absolutely stunning with all those pads. Now, Rod himself planted all these, and they've obviously just, the banks have been lined by nature more than anything else, because some of these silver birch trees, when I first came down here, they just weren't here at all. Rod planted the willows. He took some shoots off his other venue, which is Woldview, which isn't too far away from here, and he just pushed them into the ground because it's a sand pit. It's very easy to put the trees in and to plant them. It's very easy to dig holes around here as well. There's lots of rabbit holes underfoot, but look at that for a first view of the lake. It's absolutely wonderful. There is another lake over the back there which does allow fishing as well, and you often hear guys who's driving to that lake looking through the bushes and thinking, cool, that place looks absolutely stunning. But we'll have a look at the main view up the lake in a short while, because what I'm going to do to start with is just walk down the main track. And there is a couple of guys fishing at the minute, so I won't go too far into their swims, but I'll show you the views from their swims. But when I first came down to Dolly Mill, none of these trees that you can see here now, none of them existed. So these have grown up over the last 20 years. This was just a sand pit, a hole in the ground, so to say. But Rod had a vision into the future, and he could see what he was trying to create. And some of the trees around here now are absolutely spectacular. So the first thing that you come to then after that first swim is the mobile home. There is one of the main swims, which I'll look at in a second. So let's just go into the mobile home. Right, you've got all this little veranda area, and I'll go in this side door entrance. So I'm just going to take my shoes off before I enter. There's the living room anyway. Settees, TV, all the satellite TV channels are on there as well. You've got a Wi-Fi box. There's obviously a kitchen, table, all the utilities that you need, kettle, toaster, stove, fridge, freezer. Then through here you've got the first bedroom, which is two singles in there. You've got the toilet and shower facilities in here. It's all nice and clean as well. And then you've also got a double bed in here as well. So there you go, nice and clean. There's no curtains open at the moment though for me to show you, but obviously this isn't the thing that most people want to see. It's just a mobile home, this is, but it is ideal for you bringing your partners. And as I said at the beginning, there's only 2 anglers allowed to fish at any one time, but you can come here with your partner. So if you've got a mate who wants to bring their partner and you want to bring your partner with you, obviously it makes for a nice little extra add-on having something like this, because it's got all of the things that you need for a lovely week's holiday. Anyway, I've got my shoes back on and we'll take a look at the lake now, because this is the one thing that you want to look at the most. Now this is the first of the main swims and it's known as the left-hand side. You've got that swim down the track down there that we first came to when we came through the gate, which is round there. But this is the first main swim, and I can remember fishing this swim in 2002 and I've got so many memories of this water. I never ever expected it to look like this now. Now if Adam's in his swim, no he's not in here. Oh, he is in here, so I won't show you Adam anyway because he's a bit camera shy, but there's the swim. Look at that for a view, absolutely wonderful. You've got all of these pads down to the left. You've got so many features in here. At the moment, at this time of the year, it looks absolutely spectacular as well. All the lovely yellows and greens and browns. Now when I first fished in here, the main spot on this swim was to fish just around the side of the island, just around there. This is the island area, and then you've got all of these lily pads around the side there. But at the time, it was all dwarf lilies all around the side of that island, and the fish just used to overwinter, because it was a winter syndicate that I was fishing on. They used to overwinter all amongst those dwarf lilies all around there, and the depth was about 7 foot, something like that. But now, just look at that wonderful willow tree down there to the right. That was just a little stick in the ground when I first came in 2002. Absolutely wonderful. And all that bank at the moment that you can see opposite me, that's all out of bounds. Obviously you can walk around there, but you can't fish over there because there's no swims. And obviously that's just a bit of a safe haven for the fish. So an awful lot of carp obviously just come from tight to that margin. Now it's not a deep lake. I think the deepest depths you're going to find are around about 9.5 foot. And then it just, obviously it's deeper in the middle part, and then it just comes up at the other side where there's a little bit of a shelf. It's a bit of a uniform fishery really, because the margins just slowly drop off, and then you've just got this nice flat lake bed, and it just does exactly the same at the other side. So you're basically fishing to the marginal shelf on the far margin, tight up onto the shelf itself underneath the overhangs, or just at the base of the shelf. Okay, there's Adam's rods. All the swims are absolutely lovely. I will show him now because he is handsome. There you go. But look at the swims. You've got this artificial grass in the swims as well. And to put your pegs in is really easy on here, and it does hold really well as well. And obviously you've got all of these new steps going up to the top there. Now none of these were in place when I fished on here. Right, see you in a bit, Ad. So we'll carry on around the lake this way, and you've got round here the fishery boat, which is just down here. Now the rules on this lake is 2 anglers only, 3 rods, and you can use the boat to put your rods out as well. There's no bait boats allowed. Now this particular boat is the original boat that was on the fishery when Rod owned it and when he first purchased it. So that's 20 odd years old now, that is. And do you need the boat? Well, you definitely do, because certainly if you're going to be fishing, you know, tight to the margins, opposite near the pads and stuff like that, then obviously if the fish get stuck in the pads, then the boat comes in really useful. But you don't really need the boat to put your rods out, because you know there's plenty of spots to fish to that are within casting distance, and there's not a great deal of weed either. It's almost barren out in the open water. You've just got like the marginal features like the reeds, you've got the overhangs, and you've got the lily beds as well. There's no snags on the fishery, so it's quite an easy water to fish really with regards to the complicated side of carp fishing. It's just finding the spots where they're going to pick bait up though, which can be tricky at times. Okay, so we'll go up this area here now and we'll go and take a look at the little hut that's at the top. Now these particular steps, these were put in place by Rod, and obviously over the years they've gone rotten, you can see here, but I've got photographs of when he first put these in place. And this is the hut that Rod put on here when he first took over the lake, and I've got so many great memories of being around this hut with Rod, because just being with Rod and his best mate Mally Roberts was just unbelievable. The two of them together were so entertaining, such entertaining anglers. And I've got some photographs which I'll put up now of Rod and Mally sat on this hut, sat on this little veranda area where they're being filmed by a camera crew, and the camera crew weren't carp anglers, they knew nothing about carp fishing, and Rod and Mally didn't even know what to talk about. They was just messing about, being filmed and having a wonderful time. And I can remember them both talking to one another in Irish accents on this veranda, and the camera crew just looking at them, scratching their heads, wondering if anything was going to get done properly on this particular film, because they just messed around. And that's what the two of them together were like, just great characters. And I've even spent a Christmas in this particular lodge, because back in the day when I fished on the lake, the mobile home wasn't here. This has been put in place by the new owner, who is Richard Eastwood, aka Clint Eastwood. And Clint himself, or Rich, as he depends on which way he's referred to. I've known him for 25 years or so, Rich. He was, well, nearly 30 years. He actually featured in the video that myself and Rob Hughes did at Sapphire Lakes back in 1996. So that is almost 30 years ago. So that's how long I've known him. And, you know, he's been on the carp fishing scene for forever, Rich has. He's caught so many good fish as well. And he was also a good friend of Rod's. And that's how he's ended up becoming the owner of the lake, because when Rod passed away, the family wanted it to go to somebody who knew Rod, somebody who would preserve the history of Rod and also look after the fishery in the right way. And that's definitely what Clint, or Rich, has done, because everything that Rod put together is almost exactly as it was. And there is a look at the right hand side of the lake, which is just stunning. Okay, so there's the main feature on the lake, which is the island. I'll put some photographs up now so you can see that island when I fished it in 2002. So all you got like was this long thin fishery with this circle in the middle. And I remember looking at it saying, God, this is a bit of a strange looking lake, but just look at that now. It's absolutely wonderful. Really is a beautiful lake. And I put some pictures up of this on my social media. I always get people turning around going, wow, what is that place? Well, it's Dolly Mill Fishery in Lincolnshire, and it's owned by Richard Eastwood, and it was created by the late great Rod Hutchinson. Now I'm fishing on the right hand side, which is down here. I've just put my rods out because I'm filming this in different sections before anybody says, oh, you're walking around the lake and you've left your rods out. No, I haven't done that. I've just put them out now. And we'll go and have a look in my swim, which is down here. This is known as the right side of the cabin. There's the steps going down, and it's pretty much the same setup as Adam's got in his swim. You've got this artificial grass, you've got this sort of, I don't know what you call it, plastic supporting wall at the back, which obviously keeps a lot of the sand from falling down, because it's quite soft, a lot of this sand is around here. There's lots of holes being created by the animals around the area. But there's my 3 rods, and I've got my left hand rod just to the side of the island there, next to the lily bed, and then I've got my middle rod that's on the opposite margin over there, where it just hits the base of the shelf. It's about 8 foot, and then it starts to gradually come up. And then the right hand rod, that is just tight to the far margin over there. Okay, so I've still got quite a lot of water around there to the right where there's no lines, but there is another swim down the far end, which we'll go and have a look at now. Now before we carry on round, I suppose I'd better off talk about the fish stocks, because that's the one thing that's going to probably attract most of you to the lake. But there's roughly now about 100 carp in this lake, and there's 2 different 40 pounders, both mirrors. One is one that just scrapes over 40, a nice linear, and the other one is about 43 pounds, a real old carp, which apparently was around in the days of when I was on the syndicate, which is 2002, 2003, 2004. And it was obviously a small one because it certainly wasn't one of the big ones. And most of the big ones from when I was on here, they've all disappeared now. There was a lot of original carp in here, which I'll get to, but let's just talk about the main stock at the moment, because of the 100 carp that's in here, there are roughly, and this is quite a lot, there's roughly 30 to 50 different 30 pounders, obviously depending on the time of the year, because some of them fluctuate and they are growing as well. So that's a really impressive stock of fish, isn't it? 100 fish, nearly half of which are 30 pounders. And then you've got these 2 fish that are over 40, and there's 2 other fish which are very close to 40 at the moment as well, one of which is a common. So there's 3 potential 40 pounders that are mirrors and 1 that's a common. And according to Clint, the only one fish which is remaining from the original stock from when I fished on here is the big one, which I think is known as George's fish. And when I fished on here, there was not many carp in here at all. There were some originals in here, some really small ones, which I think the previous owner to Rod had put in here. Now, we moved a lot of those ones out. I can remember catching fish from here and moving to the next door fishery. They were only little, a couple of pounds, 3 pounds in size. And Rod himself, he put in some fish which came from Stapleford or a golf course at Stapleford, which I think is in Leicestershire, I'm not sure. It's not too far away from where we are now. And if I remember right, it was Anthony Sylvester who was involved in the stocking of those fish. And the biggest one went into Woldview, which is a fish that's called Alice, and that was a 40 pounder. And the rest of them went into here. And the 2 big ones that went into here, one was called Sophie and one was called Lucy. 2 big commons, and they were around the 32, 33, 34 pound mark. And I was lucky enough to catch one of those, the biggest one of those, which was Sophie, at 33 pounds on Christmas Eve in 2003, 2004, something like that. I did catch Lucy as well, which was a scraper 30 pounder. And you know, those 2 fish, they ended up growing to, I think they got to about 37, 38 pounds before unfortunately they got ottered. And you know, that's just the sad, one of the sad things about living in this area, because at the time I don't think the lake was fully otter fenced, and the bottom end, which we'll come to in a minute, that had still got an open fence on it. But there was also some other good fish in here as well, because Rod had got some fish from the old Walthamstow. I don't know if you remember, back in the day there was a bit of a story in I can't remember, it was the late 90s, early 2000s. Basically, a lot of fish from Walthamstow was sold off by the then fishery manager, who was the then waterboard manager. I can't remember. It was a bit of a controversial subject, which we ran in Carp Talk at the time. And the fish were owned obviously by Thames Water, and they were all in the venues down there. And the fishery manager privately sold them, from memory, and they ended up going all the way around the country. And some of them came into Woldview, including a fish that was known as Lennox, which was an absolutely stunning, not fully scaled, but it was an almost fully scaled fish, which I caught myself at 33 pounds, and it's a really beautiful carp. And there was also some other carp in here from that same stocking, which were close to 30 pounds. And Rod himself, because he loved boxing, he named them after famous boxers. There was Lennox, which was the main one, because at the time obviously Lennox Lewis was the heavyweight champion in the world. There was a Sugar Ray in here, there was a Tommy, there was also this one called George, which is still around today, but I don't remember that fish, so it must have been a real small one. There was also a Marvin, which is after Marvin Hagler as well. He's one of Rod's favourite. But unfortunately, all of those fish over the years have sadly passed away, but they obviously had a history from being down on the Walthamstow complex. And that particular story we ran in Carp Talk, I can remember it, it had the headline, "Do you recognise these fish?" And the Thames Water were obviously prosecuting one of their fishery managers, or somebody that worked for them, and the story became a bit of a national headline, because fish stealing or fish selling in those days was a bit of a controversial subject, and those fish went all around the country, but that's another story. Anyway, I'm making my way around the fishery now, and there is another swim down here which I've not shown you. Let me just turn this camera around. We've got down to the bottom end now. There we go. Have a look at that. I'll put some pictures up of this end of the lake as well from when I fished on here, and it was really barren. So to see it now with these trees is just spectacular. And whilst I've been down here, there's been quite a lot of fish showing over in that corner amongst those sets of lily beds over there. And the fish do get really tight in amongst those willows down there. And there's also this little margin down here to the right. But this is a swim. Doesn't look like it gets fished a great deal. I think most people tend to stick to those two around by the lodge and then just fish either side of the lodge. But it is possible to come down here and stalk them during the day. The carp get right into the margins, but obviously at this time of the year, because we're filming this in October, there's not a great deal on show at the moment. They're hidden away. Right, I'm not going to go down that little path there. You can go down that path to have a look around. Well, I will do actually. I'll go around there and show you the lake a little bit better. I think it's probably easier to do it. But it's quite a wild lake as well all the way around. You know, Clint's left it nice and natural, and I think that adds to the atmosphere because it's a wonderful fishery. It really is. Look at this for a marginal area that you can stalk. How sexy is all that? It's so quiet down here as well at the moment. You get a few planes coming over. There's a few military planes in the area that come over, but other than that, it's a distant farmer, the wildlife, and at the moment the aerator that's going. That's only just come on in the last hour or so. But look at that for a view up the lake. Isn't that beautiful? That really is special. I don't need to say anything, do I? I can just show the pictures and I can tell you're falling in love with it just like I have. Amazing place. There's all those little digging spots from the rabbits that I mentioned. They're all over the place because it's just sand and it's a really easy substrate to get into. They've been digging all over the place. So you do have to watch yourself as you walk around because there's a few holes that just suddenly appear. I don't remember this little platform, but there's obviously some kind of stalking swim down here. This is one of the attractive things about this lake. It's so overgrown now that you've got these wonderful little areas that you could come down on a summer's day and just pop a float out and wait for a carp to come along and take something. I'm guessing the surface fishing is quite good on here as well because it used to be when I was a member. But look at that down the lake. Isn't that just lovely? Without a doubt, Rod has created one of the most stunning carp waters in all of England because this is really beautiful. Okay, let's carry on round. Now this side of the lake there aren't any swims, but there used to be. Rod did create some swims. There's one in this corner here which I think you've still got the remnants of. Yeah, it was around here, if my memory serves me right. No, doesn't look like it's there anymore. You can see how far out the lily beds go. So when you look at it from the other side, they look like they're only just scouting the margins, but they're actually quite far out. So in the summer months, these are going to be quite thick and almost too thick to fish to as well. Okay, look at that tree. That's grown like that in 20 years. It's crazy, isn't it? I've got so many memories of this lake. So to see it like this now, I'd imagine if I came here in the summer months, it just looks wonderful. I did fish here it's about 4 years ago in May. And in May it looked nice, but the months of July and August are when you want to come down here. I bet it looks incredible. Okay. There is another path at the top that you can creep round. I'm risking it a little bit here because Adam's still got his rods out. I've reeled mine in. Right, this is where the back of the island is, and unfortunately I can't turn the aerator off, so we're just going to have to endure that. But this used to be a swim here. You can just see where all these trees have gathered. This is one of the old original swims that Rod created. You can see the wooden slats at the back there. They're over the back, and I'll put some pictures up and show this swim from when I was here in 2002. But you can't fish around here anymore. Look at the trees. This is a bit of a safe area for the fish, and I think Clint's got a few ropes around here as well to stop you casting in here. I wouldn't say it's a safe area though as such for the fish, because whilst I've been down I've not really seen a great deal around here. Most of the fish have been topping at either end of the lake. But yeah, there's the ropes across the back. Right, let's carry on round. I'll go up these steps. These are some of the original steps that Rod put in place. A little bit rotten, but very nostalgic. Okay, this is the top bank going around. There you go, there's the bit behind me, around the top section. And there is a bit of a steep drop down there. So anyone thinking about doing any stalking in close along this margin, I think you're going to have to be a bit careful. There's looking across at Adam's Swim. It's these absolutely wonderful willows that make this lake look so spectacular. They really are out of this world. You know, and they've come from Woldview Fishery, which is just down the road. That lake's still going as well. Venue of the old Floppy Tail, which anybody who's my age will remember that old fish. The history of Rod's Lake, Woldview, is that it used to be one of the best stocked carp waters in the north of England. And at one time in the late 80s, it had, oh God, I don't know, about 20 or 30 different 30-pounders in there, all English carp, which Rod had, the best way of phrasing this, Rod had sourced from a lot of English carp fisheries in the olden days. I think he'd taken a few fish out of different waters locally and put them into there, created an amazing fishery. And then he got 3 fish from a fishery down south, stocked them in, one of which was Floppy Tail, and sadly it transferred a disease into Woldview and it killed all the original English fish, which is a really sad event at the time. I can remember Rod being absolute bits about it. I went to a talk many years ago when somebody questioned him about it in front of everybody, and he broke down talking about it. It was one of the biggest regrets he'd done in his fishery management career, was stocking those fish into Woldview and killing all the original fish, because there was carp to over 40 pounds in there at the time, English carp. And Floppy Tail, well, it was one of those fish that came from, should we say, dubious origins. Supposedly come from France or wherever. Rod was quite open about it. I think there was 2 other fish that came with it. One was a big leather and the other one was another big mirror. And the big mirror died quite quickly into it being stocked, but Floppy Tail lived for many years. I actually caught it myself about 15, 16 odd years ago. There you go. This is the bottom end. You've got all these lovely pads down here, which obviously the carp will get amongst. It looks absolutely wonderful. Really, really nice. There's the otter fence, and there's the main fence as well, all the way around the lake. So that's basically a full circuit of the lake. We've got all the way around to the main entrance, so all that's left for me to do is to say, let me turn it round. If you're interested in fishing at Dolly Mill. Take it from me, it really is a spectacular carp lake. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful to be here. Really enjoy being here whenever I come down here. It's a stunning venue, and if you're looking for somewhere to book exclusively in 2026, which is next year, then this place comes well recommended. There's quite a lot of availability during the year as well. Bookings are through the Swim Booker app, and it's for 2 anglers only, who can bring a guest each, so it's for 4 people, but 2 anglers only. And you get the lodge, you get all the facilities, you get the chance to fish for some spectacular carp to over £40. So if you're interested in getting further details, then take a look on Swim Booker. And also there is a website which is called Dolly Mill. I think it's .co.uk, and I'll put the link down here underneath it so you can type it in. I don't think it's .com, I think it's .co.uk. So there's lots of details on there, how you can contact Rich. I think his number's on there if you want any questions being asked. And also there's some pictures of the fish as well for you to take a look at, some of which are absolutely breathtaking. So I'm fairly sure if you book this place, you'll have a good time. So I'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks for watching, and don't forget there's always a free video on this channel every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So maybe I'll see you next week.